Okay, so now we're going to work with the Shape Builder tool. So this is the Shape Builder tool, and I use this tool a lot. I use it a lot for logos, and so this should be really important for anybody doing a logo project. And so the Shape Builder basically adds and subtracts shapes from one another. So if I take, say, the ellipse tool and I create a circle, if I want to make a second circle from this one, the exact same circle, I can click and hold this, hold the Option key down, and drag. And you can see the two arrows means that I'm making a second circle, just the same as the first circle. So if I want to, say, make a crescent moon, so there's some pre-thought in what I'm going to create. So this right here is going to be my crescent moon, and everything else is going to be taken away. In order for Shape Builder to work, you have to select multiple items. You want to select the item that you want to take away and the item that you want to keep. So I have these two items, and if I go to Shape Builder and notice that there's a plus sign. That means that if I do anything, I'm going to add things together. And so let's go through that. Let's just drag this, and everything that is gray is going to be added together. So there it is. Now it kind of looks like a little, I have no idea what it looks like. But I'm going to undo, Command Z. And so this time I'm going to hold the Option key down. First, I need to select both items. And select Shape Builder. And this time I'm going to hold the Option key down. Notice that the plus sign turns to a negative sign. So that means I'm deleting items from one another. So I'm going to delete that, and I'm going to delete that. And there's my crescent moon. So I'm going to show you how to do a graphic finger pushing a button. So the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to go File and Place, and I have a scan of a finger in my computer here somewhere. Here it is, finger scan, place, and I can just drag this out like that and move it around. And so if it's pushing a button, let's just make a little button, which would be just a little rectangle down here. So there is the button that it is pushing. Now I want to start creating a finger out of shapes using Shape Builder. So the first thing I want to do is I want to go to my layers panel, which is right here, and I want to draw above this layer. So I want to create a new layer, and the new layer is where I'm going to draw. But this layer down here is the layer that I want to make a little bit grayer and lock it into place so that it doesn't move. If I gray it out a little bit, it'll be easier to draw over it. And so I'm going to double click between the number 1 and between this edge, right in this dead space. If I double click here, this option comes up and allows me to dim the image of that layer. So I'm just going to dim it to 50%. And now you can see it's dimmed out. Now the next thing is this little item right here will lock that layer. So if I click on it, that locks it. Now I can't move it. It doesn't go anywhere. Now if I start drawing items on the page, say I've got a white fill and a black line, and I start saying, okay, I want to make a rectangle. Oop, I got to go to layers, and I want to select the layer that I want to work on. So notice that I can't edit anywhere on this layer because that layer is selected. You want the light gray blue to be here, and now I can work on it. So if I kind of go like this, notice that if it's filled with white and the stroke could be really thick like this, it's kind of hard to figure out where anything is underneath this item. So I tend to work in outline mode whenever I'm drawing drawing over an image that I have scanned in. So let's delete that, and let's come over here to this eyeball, and I want to just have this layer in outline mode. I could go up to view and click outline, but when I do that, all of a sudden the picture is a box, and I don't want that. So I'm going to go back down to this, but I just want outline mode to be affected on layer 2. So if I do a command click, now all of a sudden this layer is in outline mode. So if I make another box, we still have the fill and we still have the thick stroke. I can kind of come in here like that. Now I'll show you what it looks like if I command click on this. See, it's still this white box with this thick stroke, but if I command click on the eyeball again, it is a thin layer. So this allows us to align things to one another a little bit easier. Now I want to just make this very robotic. It's not going to be an image that has these curves, and it's just going to be a very straightforward, it's going to be an icon of a finger. So if I come in here, I'm going to click off to the side, drag this guy in here. I'm using the drawing as my guide to where things go. So there's that, there's that. It's touching, it's right in the middle of the drawing, right in the middle of the drawing. Let's go up to the top. This, I'm holding the shift key down as I drag to constrain it to 90 degrees. You always click and then hold the shift key down and drag, so it's kind of hitting the middle of that drawing, the middle of that drawing. And notice that this scan is the photo of a finger, and then I kind of use tracing paper to trace over it. So I'm kind of simplifying it. Illustrators all around the world trace things. They don't do anything freehand. I'm going to drag this down a little bit, bring this in slightly. Okay, so there is that portion. Now the finger is basically a rectangle and a circle. So this bottom part of the finger is going to be a circle. So let's go to the ellipse tool, and I am going to hold the shift key down and drag out a circle. And the circle might not be in the right position to begin with. And so I'm going to hold the shift key down, bring this in a little bit. And where I want the rectangle to land is I want the rectangle to land basically halfway through this circle, right where that X is, and align to the edge. Don't be afraid to zoom in. Command spacebar will bring in your magnifying glass. I can go back. I can select the rectangle that I drew first and kind of line it up right on top of the circle right there. And then I can drag this over, and I want this to be right about there, like that. So now I can take my selection tool, I can select the rectangle, I can select the circle, and then I can go to Shape Builder, defaulting to positive, the plus sign. That means adding items together. So I can click and drag, and just with that quick movement, I have made the outline of a finger. I'm going to command click on the eyeball again, and now let's try the fingernail. So there's some preconception going on when you draw something. So I'm looking, okay, there's a circle, there's a circle, and these sides could be a rectangle. So let's start out with the circle, and I'm just going to adjust this circle using the selection tool. I'm going to drag it in. Again, I'm trying to eyeball this into the drawing that I have already. So the circle can go farther out than the rectangle. So as you can see, this is the gray area, and there you go right there. And let's do the other circle at the bottom. For the other end of the fingernail, I'm going to have it not go to the edge of the finger. It's going to be a little bit more inset. And then I'm going to drag this up a little bit. I think this is pretty good. Again, I'm using the gray drawing of the finger as a guide. And then the next thing is I can take the rectangle tool, and I always want to have it, and doesn't matter, doesn't hurt to get a little bit closer. I'm going to bring this so that it touches. It's very important that it's touching the edge of the circle, like that. And then if I bring it up, I can take this point, kind of flare it out a little bit, this point, and right about there. There we go. So what we can do now is we can take this, hold the shift key down, click on this, and click on this. And then the first thing we can do is we can take our shape builder, and instead of adding this, I'm going to hold the option key down and take that away. I'm going to click and drag, take it away, click and drag, take it away. And notice that it's not taking the finger away because that's not selected. And then we can click, not holding the option key down, and drag over everything, and that makes the fingernail. Now notice that there's a little spot right here. The other thing that you can do, instead of using Shape Builder to add all these items together, you could also select all these items and then go over to the panel and go to Pathfinder. And I use Pathfinder if I have a lot of objects that I want to add together as one. And if I just click on this, it just becomes one item. Now the next thing is we have this little thing I used to call a cuticle, but it's not a cuticle. It's that little crescent that you have at the top of your fingernail. And so this is just another circle. And so here is the circle, and I'm going to draw it. Doesn't mean that it's perfect. I'm going to go back, select the selection tool, grab this handle, kind of bring that in, kind of bring it up a little bit, bring it over a little bit. And now I'm going to select that and my fingernail, and basically I just want to delete this top part. So hold the option key down so you get the negative sign, and click and drag over the things that you want to delete. There we go. And now if we go back to our layers and I do Command eyeball, we have created a finger pushing a button.